Hey, Ashlyn.
Hi.
Do you enjoy being at my house for this episode?
Indeed I do, but you know what I don't enjoy?
What?
Sunburnt kneecaps.
Oh, sunburnt kneecaps. Welcome back to Bookaholics. Ashlyn and I are surprisingly together because we just got back from a girls' trip where Ashlyn got burnt kneecaps.
I got sunburnt kneecaps because I am an irresponsible adult and don't know how to apply sunscreen responsibly. So, that's been fun.
Yeah, but we're back, and I'm going to let you know now that we are recording in my living room. And there are 4 animals in the house with us right now. So if you hear a noise, keep it to yourself.
Literally anything could happen.
Anything can happen.
Oh my goodness. Let's just really hope and pray that Grudy doesn't hear anything in the backyard because I think the door is still open.
No, I closed it and
good.
I put up the doggy gate so the cats can still go outside.
Nice.
Yes, I did.
Okay, cool.
All right. So this month. Oh, here we go. My cat is scratching on his scratch pad.
Shout out to Welly.
So this month we covered The Highest Bidder by Cate.
Did we cover it? Man.
And you, if you've been with us for a while, you know that we thoroughly enjoy some Cate and the Salacious Players Club.
Mm-hmm.
So Ashlyn, you want to give us a little synopsis of what The Highest Bidder is about?
Oh, do I? Long story long.
Long story long. Okay.
Basically, there is a main MMC, Ronan, and a main FMC, Daisy. Daisy is a waitress at the Salacious Players Club, and Ronan is the most wealthy of the patrons. And long story short, they get together he literally bids on her at an auction, and they get together, and some really, really good stuff happens after that.
Yeah. All right.
I think that's without giving anything away.
All right. Do you have the tropes and triggers written down?
Indeed, I do.
All right.
Tropes are as follows: BDSM, daddy kink, and age gap.
I also put on there insta-love.
Sure.
It was within a week.
Sure. I feel like you and I have very different definitions of insta-love.
Okay. It's a very quick relationship.
Yes, but there's a lot of build-up. There's no love until at least halfway through the book.
Correct, but halfway through the book is 2 weeks.
Yeah. But all I'm saying is, when I think insta-love, I think it's going to happen, they're going to quote-unquote love each other or, get together within the first, 20% of the book.
Oh, so you do it based off of the book.
Yes.
I do it based off of an actual timeline.
I don't do that.
Yeah, so the timeline itself is very short. So I say it's insta-love because, they love each other within, a couple weeks. Ashlyn's saying not insta-love because it does take you more than half the book for them to be in love.
Because, what was that? The playlist? We said that was insta-love, but, it wasn't really insta-love, but they got together immediately.
Yeah.
And then were together for the whole book.
That's true.
So that's what I base my insta-love on.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, I do it based off of an actual timeline.
As far as triggers go, there's not a ton as far as things Cate could have done. The biggest ones I wrote down are parental and child loss / grief. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's
I don't think there's really any other big triggers that I came across.
No, I don't think so. I mean, unless BDSM can be a trigger for you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not into the... But, even still, the BDSM is kept to a relative minimum. Pretty much to, one scene.
So, yeah, there is one scene, if you don't like BDSM, there is one scene where it's, almost like pain play.
Yeah.
But it's consensual.
It's very consensual.
Yeah, if you don't like that could be a trigger for you.
So, Haley, what did you rate this book?
I rated this book a 4 out of 5.
Okay, and the spice level?
A 5 out of 5.
Okay, so...
True to Cate's, writing skills. She can write some good scenes.
Boy, can she. I rated this book a 4.5 out of 5, and I will explain a little later on what made the 0.5 be less than.
Yeah.
And I think our reasonings are the same. I was just a little more gracious. And then Yeah, for spice, definitely 5 out of 5. Because Sarah, man, she just... It was... There's a lot of... You know that red emoji? That red emoji with a little sweat dot?
Oh, yeah.
There's a few.
The steamy?
There's a few. I put a few in my notes. So,
oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we've gotten to the point now where if you don't want any spoilers and you don't want to listen to us actually discuss the book, stop here, go read the book, and then you can come back. But if you're sticking around, then all bets are off, and we're going to get into the nitty-gritty details.
Into the nitty-gritty.
Okay, so
we restructured. Yeah,
yes,
so we restructured this book just a smidgen because I feel like...
You mean the podcast. We restructured.
Sorry, yes, the podcast.
We restructured the book.
The book itself that we did not write, we restructured. Because we have been really skipping all over the place the past several episodes, we were like, well, how can we make this a little more flowy? So we broke it down in quarters. The book, we're doing the first quarter, second quarter, and so on. So, with that being said, at Haley.
Yeah. I'm starting it off?
Yeah, dive us right on in.
Okay. So, beginning of the book, it's literally the prologue, and you find out that Ronan loved Daisy's mother.
Yeah.
And that was red flag number 1.
Didn't love it. Not my fave.
I think that contributed to the overall rating of it being lower for me. Mm-hmm. I get the concept and why it meant so much later on, because that was like the focal point of their drama with the amount of money that he left for Daisy. I do not like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah. That's very understandable. I also did not like it, but I do know that it played a huge part in the entire book. Correct. And the plot. So it is what it was. And there was nothing I could really do about that. But yeah, I wish they had just more or less like maybe just like hooked up and like we're having a good week. Not so much like he loved her.
Like he said that this woman was the second true love of his life after his deceased wife.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like that, it's kind of messed up then in my head that he wants to be with the daughter. Like it just...
But again, he doesn't know.
I know he doesn't know, but then I think like once he found out like that, it's still weird. It's weird.
I mean, obviously he suffered with that mentally for a bit, but we'll get to that.
All right. So, I want to say Gio, I think, is a really good supporting character. Mm-hmm. He's not in this book too much, though.
He is not. I wish he were in it more.
Also, is Gio gay?
Yes.
Okay. See, like, he wasn't in there a whole lot, and like a couple things that were said, I was like, is he? Like,
yeah, no, I think he's gay. Okay. He likes men. He may also like women. I do not know. But
I don't think they touched on it very much. She didn't touch on it very much.
I think at one point he referenced a guy he was going out with.
Okay. So
I wrote him as gay. I wrote him specifically as gay bartender / best friend.
Oh, cool. Kudos to him because he literally set this whole book into motion.
He really did. Gio is the whole reason we have this book.
Yes. Yeah.
Shout out to
because
Gio.
Ronan very much knew who Daisy was. Like, knew her by name. She knew him by name. Mm-hmm. But it was just as the waitress.
Yeah. Not my long-lost love's
daughter who I'm now fucking. Yeah.
Details. Yeah, I love Gio a lot. To your point, book wouldn't exist without him. I loved their bet, and I loved how they were just like, let's go out to the karaoke bar or the piano bar. And he was like, no, let's do different stakes. And yeah. I liked that it, I mean, again, the whole preface of the book, but I liked that that's what it ended up with. Mm-hmm. And I like that it immediately happened. Like, not like, if I lose, you know, you have to go up, or whatever the case was. If I win, you have to go up, and maybe it had to wait like a week or something until the next auction.
It was literally that night.
It literally happened immediately.
Within like 5 seconds. They're like, damn. Daisy's being auctioned.
And Daisy's like, damn it.
And at first, I really thought, like, I lost my train of thought. My first impression, that's the word. My first impression of Clay was creepy.
Me too.
Because it gave off that vibe, which later in the book you find out that that's not the case. But, like, it came off as creepy, and Ronan was betting to keep her away from this creepy guy.
True. But also, I think that specifically was from Ronan's point of view. And he was just like, I don't want this young schmuck to get her.
Yeah.
When we don't know anything about him. He's new here. He could do anything.
Okay.
So, yeah, I agree. I do think it was written to be more or less the antagonist, and you were like, what's happening here?
Because I have in my notes that Clay was going to come back later and be like an issue, which I was disappointed that he was not.
Yeah, he was not. I also anticipated that happening, but I'm pleasantly surprised that didn't. I personally wrote down that I said I love that they had a shared love for books and that he was soaking up her enthusiasm over all of his favorites and her favorites. And I just love that they had that instant connection over something so trivial, or what most people, probably not the people listening to this podcast, but what other people in the world may not find as something exciting.
Yeah.
And I like that.
I also enjoy that in this first quarter of the book, you really, ugh, dry throat. You really start to see Ronan's like nurturing personality right away. One with Agatha, his housekeeper, but then even when he couldn't sleep and he went down to the gas station and he knew Sherry's name and like he knew everything, because it shows that he actually cared to get to know people, even though he is a billionaire.
Humbled billionaire.
But it also, while he's nurturing, he immediately got possessive and territorial of Daisy when he found out she was living in her van. Immediately,
which again, I'm all for that. I enjoy that a lot. I'm like, yes, be that alpha, not alpha hole, because I didn't think he was an asshole in any way. But the alpha, I mean, he's a pleasure dom, daddy
pleasure dom, yeah.
A pleasure dom. So, but yeah, I liked how he got very possessive of her, personally. Now, IRL, literally back the fuck off. Let me
That's
be my
creepy.
own human.
Yeah.
But in a book, swoon.
And I don't blame Daisy at all for being like, yes, I will come to your house or your apartment, penthouse, whatever it was.
Yes. This is skipping ahead mildly, but still in the first quarter, when she passed out in the shower. And I was like, so she's diabetic? And then you later come to find out that she's not diabetic?
Yeah, so one, I have two notes on that. I did make a note that the first sexual scene in the whole book was her masturbating in the shower. And I was like, wow, we're starting off strong. First quarter of the book, and there's a scene. Good job, Sarah. Snaps. And then literally she had like that moment of low blood sugar. And in my notes, I put curveball. She has diabetes. Because I was so excited to have a diabetic FMC because that's not a normal character. Yeah. And in my mind, I was like, she's got the glucose gummies. Like she's dizzy. She can't stand up straight. All this stuff. And I was severely let down when it was like, I just have low blood sugar. Bitch, eat something.
Right? Like, just like literally take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And I understand Ronan's frustration where he was mad because she wasn't just taking care of herself. It's like, you don't even have a true medical issue. You literally just are not feeding your body.
I mean, it is a medical issue, but it's like very manageable if you eat 3 square meals a day.
If she was eating more than literally like a piece of piece of cheese or whatever she was eating.
So that I was disappointed because I was really excited for a diabetic character to be the main character.
Retweet.
Because it would have shed light on how people have to live, you know?
Yeah.
So whatever. That's all I have for the first quarter. Do you have anything else?
Not really. That was pretty. I mean, the first quarter was a lot of story building, but not a ton of like really interesting
and her
details.
Moving in with him essentially.
Yes, which I do still love. And I love that he had the garage, at least, that she could still keep her car or truck, van, whatever there and like be safe.
I will say real quick, I thought it was weird that he said that he never brought women to his condo, but it was like he immediately made her move in with him.
I don't disagree.
Like, that was a little strange.
I think, honestly, he was probably attracted to her. I mean, obviously, he was attracted to her. But, like, I think also he was kind of coming at it from, like, a father figure perspective where he's like, I have the means, I have the money to take care of you, and it's fucking freezing out here. You are literally going to get hypothermia if you stay in this van. So
he also could have put her up in a hotel.
He absolutely could have. He had the funds. He absolutely
had
could
the
have.
funds. And I just thought it was weird that, I never bring women here, but I'm making you live here. I just thought it was a continuity thing. Like, they didn't even have a relationship yet.
You're picking up on the smallest thing.
I'm sorry. This is why I rated it a 4. Like, do you see? Like,
I don't like that.
I'm
still keeping my 4.5.
I'm very nitpicky.
If you look on Goodreads, I did give it a 5 because I rounded up. But, okay.
So the next quarter, though, okay, I started off with a quote. She said, "My favorite food is Wendy's fries dipped in a Frosty." Literally, my favorite thing growing up was dipping my chicken nuggets and my french fries in a chocolate frosty from Wendy's. And now, oh my God, I really want to go get Wendy's.
So, like, I personally want to say that's weird.
What?
But I know it's not weird for a lot of people.
Have you ever tried it?
No.
After we're done recording, I want you to know we are going to Wendy's. There's one down the street, and we're going to get you a small Frosty and a large fry. We're going to watch High School Musical and dip our french fries in our Frosties. If you're listening to this and you are a french fry Frosty lover, please let me know so I can prove Ashlyn wrong on this.
Again, I've heard it from many a people. So I know it's not as weird as it sounds that it is, but I just don't know that I can get on board.
But, like, have you had a Frosty?
No.
You've never had a Frosty?
I don't think so. Is it much different from, like, a Sonic Blast or, like, a...
It's not even close. Because, okay, Ashlyn, the consistency of a Frosty, it's like a fake shake.
I don't understand what you mean by fake.
It's, like, grainy almost. Almost like it's a slushy and a shake mixed together. Like, the texture is a little off.
I'm just thinking I'm not going to like it.
You just have to try it. Oh my God. I want a Frosty so bad. You've never had a Frosty.
Haley, I literally hadn't had McDonald's until I was like old enough to drive a car.
How have we been friends this long, though, and you've never
Because my
had
parents
a
did
Frosty?
everything in their freaking power to make sure that I wasn't going to be fat. And spoiler alert, it didn't work. So I didn't get the fun things like a Frosty or fries.
Ashlyn, okay, after this, we're going to get Frosties and fries.
Oh, okay.
And you can suck it up. So that was starting the next quarter was, she said that quote and I died a little on the inside and I loved it.
Yeah. This is also the quarter where they go to Paris. And I just want to say right off the bat, favorite city I've ever visited.
But before we get to Paris, there's another little detail.
Okay, all right.
Because yes, I do love the Paris.
Is it about his family?
No.
Okay.
It's about that she was already comfortable enough and saw him, I think, as a fatherly figure that she crawled into his bed.
Yeah.
And I think that added to the daddy kink.
Uh-huh.
Because I honestly love that she crawled into his bed.
I mean, me too.
Because I do not call my husband daddy, but I do love the daddy kink in books.
Same.
Because I think daddy issues. But
fair. That's fair.
I really loved it because he is that daddy. Like, he has the gray hair and he was on his laptop Was he working?
Yes.
Yeah, he was working.
He couldn't sleep.
And she just crawled into his bed.
I was like, okay, I'm here for this.
Yeah.
Also, if you've read it, you know, but there's like a 35-year age difference. I mean, this is not like a small...
He's 56 and she's 23? 21 because her mom died at 18.
Yeah.
3 years she didn't go to college. She's 21 and he's 56.
Yeah. I mean, that could quite literally have been her father.
Yeah.
I was like,
She said that he was older than her father.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure because
she did.
She said that her dad wasn't going to like it when she introduced him.
A man who's older than him.
And he's older than him. Yeah.
No, I did like that scene though. It like already started it off for me where I was like, well, obviously they're comfortable enough around each other.
Yeah.
He's shirtless. She's getting a whole new appreciation. She literally said in the beginning how she didn't like older men. And I was like, girl, you can't be eating those words.
I know. Who doesn't like older men?
Children.
I guess that's true.
I mean, I don't think I started liking older men until I was in like my mid-20s.
What? I liked older men in college.
I mean, okay, to be fair, 56?
No, that's
what I'm saying. I'm like, 56 is older. I mean, in college, yes. I mean, I literally had my background as Adam Levine and then Chris Evans. Like,
yeah.
30s and 40s.
That was old for us in college.
But 56, I mean, that's not a small...
Now that we're in our late 20s, 56 is
that's
not a huge jump. It's
I'll
not a
take
huge
it.
jump.
Where are you? Come find me. Still single. Anyway, so, yeah, no, Can I jump to Paris, or are we still...
We're not jumping to Paris yet because there's a whole scene where she finally shows how possessive she is with the fucking flight attendant.
My next one was about the whole flight scene and calling him daddy.
Okay. You're saying Paris. They're not in Paris.
I'm so sorry.
I
meant we're jumping to getting to Paris.
Yeah, but also, I do think it's crazy he immediately took her out of the country. Okay, carry on.
I don't disagree with that in the slightest. If you were smart.
Yeah, young, blonde girl that's like fetches a high price in the human trafficking ring, I would not go with this man to Paris.
True that. I mean, but they did already sleep in a bed together, and like they've been in the same. I mean, but still, to your point, like that was what, 2 days, 3 days? What timeline are we talking here?
I literally think it was like 2 days,
and now we're all of a sudden
going to Paris. Yeah.
I mean, I again just like to attribute it to the Salacious Players Club, and I think that they have just a really great background. I mean, he's obviously an investor in the club,
and they do vet all their patrons.
Yeah, so I think it just adds a little bit more to the like, he's probably not going to kill me or human trafficking.
But also, you don't think that the Pope is going to touch a child? Not the Pope. You don't think that the priests are going to touch a child? But so the fact that he literally couldn't contain himself when she said "daddy," and I was like, oh my God. He was like, no, I like it too much. I was like, oh. But I did not like that he was not correcting the flight attendant and making it seem like he was available to her.
I agree.
And then it almost made her seem childish.
Yeah, and then, because I'm pretty sure she said 1 bed, and then all of a sudden it was 2.
The flight attendant made up 2 beds.
Yeah, but then he got into her bed anyway.
Which, yes, that was nice. But yeah, like, it was weird. The dynamic was weird going to Paris.
I agree. But not jumping too far forward, coming back was much better.
Yes, agreed. Now, I've never been to Paris, but reading about their adventures in Paris, I want to go.
Let's go. Leave Matt here. He doesn't have to go. Let's go. I want to go back.
You know, Matt's family is French.
Damn it.
So he wants to go. He took French in high school.
Fine. Okay. Well, then he can go. I'm going to be your third wheel. Yeah. So Paris is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I went when I was in college. So it was a little different experience because we were studying abroad and we had a very strict-ish schedule and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So like they got to lay under the Eiffel Tower at night. I didn't get to do that. I wanted to do that.
Because y'all were like on a strict schedule curfew.
Somewhat. Yeah. So, all right. Where do we want to start with Paris?
I'll let you go first because the thing I want to talk about is like before they go to the sex club.
Mine is the bed scene after the club.
Oh, okay. Well, mine is the bed scene before the club.
Okay. I see. Okay.
We probably just like ruined the mic just then. Yeah. There's a bunch of red lines.
So sorry.
Okay. I really loved the apartment scene when she's mad about him going to the sex club without her. Like he's going to go without her at that point. And like they're not going to the tower anymore like he said he would. And so she says daddy out of spite to get a rise out of him. Mm-hmm. And that's when he kisses her for the first time. And he pins her to the bed and holds her hands above her head. And I was like, oh, this scene, I love it. Here's the dom coming out. And then I also put, like, that's the first time that, like, he truly touches her in a sexual way and kisses her. And that was 40% of the way through the book.
Yeah. See? Hashtag not insta-love is all I'm saying.
But they went to Paris 2 days.
It's fine. He owed her a date. Although it was technically supposed to be an hour, but yeah, the whole dynamic. I mean, I think again, I'm kind of now a sucker for a slow burn. I used to hate them. I love them now because it like really builds the tension.
I think you like a medium burn.
I think a medium to a slow.
Okay, because like I think a true slow burn, like you might get all the way towards the end of the book.
Oh, absolutely not.
Like, I
like a medium burn.
Yeah, I was like, I think a true slow burn is like 60, 70%.
No.
Yeah, I think you like a medium burn. Like, halfway through the book, things are happening.
Medium burn is for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when that whole, I mean, literally them just going to the club opened the entire door for everything.
Yeah.
Even though they quite literally met in a sex club, it was going to the Paris sex club that made the whole
There
thing.
was a little more laissez-faire.
Very, very laissez-faire.
He was like, they're not going to care that you came with me.
Right? And then this guy, I didn't write his name down. I said I was going to write all these names down.
I didn't either, but I loved how bold he was.
Right? He was just like...
I want to make love to you.
Right? Ronan was like, they're not going to care. Just like what you said, they're not going to care if we came together. They're going to hit on you. And that guy immediately was like, he won't care. Let's just hook up right now. And
he
I was like,
always shares or something like that. Oh my God. He has no problem sharing.
That was...
But that also told you how possessive Ronan is of her already because he, one, did not take her eyes off of him.
True that.
Or he did not take her eyes off of... Oh my gosh, I can't speak.
He didn't take his eyes off of her.
Yes, thank you. Oh my gosh. And then the guy even commented on it.
Yeah.
He's like, he doesn't stop looking at you.
Yeah, very brief skip forward. Madam King said the same thing.
Yeah.
So yes, he is very possessive, and I love that. But yeah, that whole scene, and then he took her to go to a room, and he said this was my add-on, and now I can't remember what exactly it was.
I think it was like the voyeur hall.
Except that's right. That's right. It just didn't have the windows or anything.
Yeah, it was like it was open. Like,
and that's where she was like,
yeah,
I'm getting toasty.
Yeah, because then she wanted to go back to the apartment. Is that the one that you want to talk about?
Yes, that is the one I want to talk about. And then they basically, she's like, well, she heads to her room after they'd already slept together in one bed. And
slept, not had sex.
Correct. Slept. Like,
they sleeping.
They went to the sleep. And she was like, you don't have to, like, take care of yourself? And he was like, no. And then he went in there and she literally just gone to sleep. She was like, I was so embarrassed.
Right. But then he spent that whole time just picturing her touching herself.
Yes, when she had done nothing. And then he decided, you know what? Let me help you.
He gonna do it.
I was like,
let Daddy take care of it.
Daddy to the rescue.
Daddy.
But they still didn't do anything. I mean, like, they still didn't have sex.
No, he
nothing
got
happened to her. I mean, nothing happened to him. But
right. She asked him, and he was like, no.
Yeah, pleasure dom. Which also, like, guys, I'm still single. So
where are the pleasure doms at for Ashlyn?
There's an older pleasure dom who's interested. Hit me up. Also, if any of my family is listening to this, this is not Ashlyn. So I wrote down, I did a quote. I said, "You're suffering, baby girl. Do you want daddy to make you feel better?" And I was like, I'm fanning myself.
Yeah, I think Sarah Cate is really good at writing different kink scenes.
She really is.
Like, I don't know if she's into that or but she just did really good research.
Agreed.
But like the whole daddy kink, and then when we get to the BDSM scene,
yeah,
that's in the later. But like,
she knows what
she's writing about,
which makes me think that she has at least a very small amount of experience, if not a little more. I mean, she may not fess up to it if she does, but like, I have a lot of respect because, I mean, I've not been to one of these clubs, but it sounds like it is something that truly exists. And this is kind of, although I will say I have heard of clubs, I've not been to one, but I can't imagine they're quite as sophisticated as this is written.
Fantasy club. If there was a fantasy club like this in real life, I would be open to going to it.
I too would be open to going to it, but I don't think they are this
as nice.
Yeah. And I don't think anyone is vetted, and I'm not doing that.
They just let anyone in.
Pretty much. I think if they can pay for it, they're in. I'm out.
So I did not write when they left Paris. Was that still in the 50% or is that in the third?
Oh, yeah. This is still in the 50.
So the Eiffel Tower scene. Yeah.
Yeah. The Eiffel Tower scene. I was like, ooh, and now she's a little bit of an exhibitionist. And the whole fingering under the blanket, I was like, wow, y'all are bold. This is, listen.
Especially after that girl was staring at them.
Yeah. And listen, a blanket's not gonna cover
unless
anything.
He had his knees propped up,
even still.
So it was like a little tent.
Even still, but like, I think it's still relatively well lit.
I think it's obvious what you're doing if she looks like she's feeling real good. But it's also Paris, a city of love.
True that. They're like, we're doing the love.
Yeah.
We're making the love.
And then how fast he got her out of there so he could finally have her.
Retweet. They were not fast. Although I did say the first scene immediately followed by the shower scene. I was like, oh, wow, he's got some stamina. That's 56.
For 56.
He's not going anywhere.
I mean, there are men our age, and it's like one, and they need recovery.
I'm painfully aware of that. But I did write after those first two, I'm saying the first two scenes as if there weren't more scenes before that, but like the first sex scene and then the shower scene. And I specifically wrote, still waiting for the Dom part to come out.
Correct.
Because it was feeling very vanilla. I was like, now I can't even, like at that point, I couldn't necessarily say, I agree, he's a pleasure Dom. I'm like, it just sounds like he's somebody who's not selfish.
Yeah.
Like I don't
He's a giving lover.
Yeah, I don't see the pleasure Dom specifically. It did come out later.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But at 50% of the way through, after many a scene together, I was like, I'm not seeing
Well, I don't think that he was like wanting to be that person yet.
Well, true, but
her.
he very specifically had said, I'm a pleasure Dom. I've done vanilla many times and I have realized it's not my cup of tea.
Well, I think he was also dipping his toes in with her,
True.
so to speak.
True.
I mean, it's almost like Christian Grey, how he was supposed to be a Dom, but literally had vanilla sex every single time. With Anastasia.
He also was like, I'm not going to touch you until you sign the contract, and never did that contract get signed.
Yep. I have nothing else for this quarter.
I put the scene back on the flight, and him. Listen, you have this note. You just didn't write it down on the plane on the table.
Oh my God!
I was like, he literally just put her ass up on that table and just ate her out for anyone in that plane to see.
I really wish the flight attendant would have walked in.
I wish the flight attendant had to and been like,
but she did scream.
She did. Oh, there was no hiding.
They like it said that basically anyone within earshot heard.
Yes. So they that was good. That was chef's kiss. I actually wrote chef's kiss.
Oh, wow.
Ronan eating her out on the plane, chef's kiss. I don't have a ton for the third. So
I actually have some for the third. So I put very first note. So not a diabetic.
I said the blood sugar, but not diabetes. Literally just eat.
Yeah. So that's when again she passes out, freaks poor Ronan out to the point where he called an ambulance.
Poor boy.
And took her to the hospital, all the stuff, and realized no, she's not diabetic. She's just not taking care of herself.
Yes. True.
And true to his nature, he is a nurturing person. He wants people to need him. So I get why he like easily slipped into that role. But also, I'm sorry. I don't like that part. I don't like that that's her thing.
Took her to the,
that she just has low blood sugar. Like, I just don't like that.
No, I agree with that. Like I said, I don't have a ton of notes because it was a lot of sex, honestly. I wrote, wow, the spanking, and then immediately to fucking, and then I did the emoji, the sweaty emoji.
I put on here, I made a note that I really like that this daddy dom kink doesn't have the little girl aspect.
Yes.
Because some people really like daddy dom, little girl.
I'm out on the little girl thing.
I don't like when someone acts like a child.
Yeah.
And that's just me, because that's cutting it like way too close to pedophilia.
Illegal. Yeah.
And like, I know it's not, like, it's a grown woman, but like to fantasize about it.
It's not right.
And I'm not judging anyone else if that's what they like. Please, just as consenting adults and not a true child. But I don't want to read little girl.
I completely agree. I read one book and I was like, I'm so out on this. I've never been more out on a kink in my life.
Yeah.
I like the daddy dom. This is as far as I'd go. Like, what was going on.
And he calls her baby girl. And I like that.
Baby girl. Not
baby
little
girl. Yeah, baby girl, like daddy, like that's like, this is good. I like this. Baby girl
feels like a term of endearment. Little girl feels like you're patronizing.
Well, because Shamar Moore called
Penelope.
Yeah, baby girl on Criminal Minds, and so baby girl for me is not child. It's a pet name.
Agreed. And yeah, I think this is as far as I would go. I too do not necessarily condone it, but I don't encourage it.
I think as long as it's consenting adults and you're not ever trying to make it something where a child is truly involved, then do whatever you want.
I just feel like it's too close.
It's just not. It's too close to the line. Not for me. Yeah, it's not for me. But if it's for you, great. I'm saying this book does not have little girl in it, and I liked it.
True that.
I also put on here that Madam Kink, Eden.
Yes.
One, she's his best friend, Ronan's best friend. I love her.
And I hope they become best of friends.
And I have not read the third or fourth book in this series. I've read the first and second. And so Madam Kink is kind of in there. And she really was eye-opening in the first book. Mm-hmm. But I think her just being that solid best friend, you know, she
just making sure that Daisy's heart's in the right
place. Took Daisy in there, and then that's when you realize Daisy loved him. Oh no, it's only been a week, and still love for Haley. But like she
also like 60% of the way through the book.
Yeah, she 75.
Okay,
almost. Yeah, she you know, she was actually like his friend and was looking out for him. And I wrote in here, I'm ready for Madam Kink to have her own book. And then you told me
her book is the next book.
Her book is the next book.
It's coming out of October this year.
And then I also said that Daisy's just not handling the situation well at all.
I would agree with that. The whole situation, meaning the secret.
The
big secret that the whole plot is based
around. The
big
secret that her mom was like the second love of his life, and he left her $1 million.
Yes. I kept flip-flopping back and forth. I was like, why don't you just tell him? And then also, this is not a good mindset. I want to preface that. I was like, to be fair, if I really liked a guy, maybe I would keep a secret. Maybe not that big, but maybe a smaller secret until they're like pretty far in and probably won't leave me.
Okay.
This one's a little bigger of a secret though. Right. I think maybe you should probably tell him.
But also part of me was wondering too, if she told him flat out in the beginning who she was, would he ever develop romantic feelings for her?
True. Probably not.
Or would he see her more as a true daughter figure because she was the daughter of
If
Shannon.
I know anything, Ronan and I are best friends. So I personally think that if he had told her in the beginning, or excuse me, she had told him in the beginning, he would never have developed romantic feelings.
Yeah.
And then there would be no book.
But I think even then, like even in Paris, you know, like she had so many opportunities to tell him.
True.
And didn't. And it took him hiring the PI.
Yes.
But whatever. And then... Okay, do you have anything before, like, the biggest red flag of this entire book?
I think the same red flag that I had.
Okay, I literally put 6 red flags.
I put, what? He proposed?
I said, red flag, red flag, red flag. Marry me. And then 3 more red flags.
I'm like, excuse me?
Like, who the fuck does that? It's just, one, they've been together for a whopping week, 2 weeks. And he wants to propose to her, and he proposes, and it's just... And she says yes.
She says yes, which I think is also a red flag. I'm like,
She's 21.
I know. Listen, I personally could probably see myself marrying an older man. But not after a week.
Mm-hmm.
Literally a week. I think where he's coming from is he's older and he's not found anybody who's been... not a gold digger, like a good person. And he does like her. He obviously loves her. But for her being 21,
she hasn't even experienced life.
She hasn't experienced life, and she hasn't told him the secret.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have been the time to be like, before I say anything, or just know that I maybe would say yes. But first, I got to tell you this.
Yeah.
So that we go into this with no secrets.
Clear slate.
Clear slate. But she did not.
I just think I get that he's older, but still, like, he should know how young she is, how inexperienced she is. And yes, when I was 21, I thought that I knew everything. I thought that, like, I was an adult and all this stuff, but now that I'm almost 30, I'm like, I knew shit.
I still know shit. Just for the record.
And, you know, young minds are so impressionable.
Mm-hmm.
and they're still naive.
Yes.
And so it just, I know it's a book. I know it's fantasy. It's not real. But it's just so unrealistic for me, too, because in the back of my mind, as much as I love them together, he is 30-something years older than her, and he is going to die so much earlier in life than she is.
Yes.
And she's going to be a widow for however many years.
True.
So the realist in me did not like the marriage proposal.
Fair. Very fair. And jumping forward a smite.
Well, because now we're in the last quarter.
Yeah.
That ended the third quarter. Ashlyn just hit the mic.
I just hit the... Okay, so I didn't fully understand. I kind of understand, but I don't understand why she felt the need. It felt like the way that it was written, it was more of a psychological need for the pain.
Yeah.
Rather than a pleasure sort of situation.
I think so.
So I enjoyed the whole part with Madam Kink and her being brought in as like an unbiased third party here for your pleasure.
Yeah.
Yes. And it really did feel to me like Ronan suffered during that scene to watch her. And Madam Kink said, "You try." And I think I don't know if it was a flogger or if it was caning.
No, it was a riding crop.
Oh, a riding crop. Okay. I was like, there's a big difference here.
She did the riding crop on her. Maybe she gave him the flogger.
Okay.
Because I thought the flogger was there at one point. I do note the BDSM tools at this point.
Me as well. At first, I didn't realize what it was, and I thought it was caning. And I was like, I may be out on this. This, again, not necessarily a trigger, but it may just be something I'm not into. Well, I know for a fact I'm not into it. But when he took the flogger, riding crop, whatever, and was more or less forcing himself to do this, I was like, this seems like he is so uncomfortable.
He was so uncomfortable, and I think it added to his insecurity that he's not everything that she needs.
Which... yeah, I mean, so that part I did not love. And he was like, I can do this. I can get better. And I'm like, you clearly, this is not something you want to do. I don't know why you're trying to force yourself to do this.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry. My TV has its like sleeping screen on and I was staring at the patterns and Ashlyn thought there was something behind her.
Yeah. So I loved Madam Kink joining in on that and giving her what I guess she needed. I
think because she was so guilty that she was keeping that secret. It was very much she needed to be punished and then she got off on it.
Yeah, and I think maybe potentially, I don't think they touched on this, but I think maybe after the secret was out, maybe she didn't need it as much.
Because they didn't talk about it again.
They didn't talk about it again.
They didn't talk about Ronan, punishing her in the future or anything. It was but I did say that spanking scene with Eden made me think about 50 Shades of Grey and how Christian...
With the 6... Was it after the first one? Wait, keep going.
Okay. It was literally the first book and how Christian just spanked her with his hand and she got so bent out of shape and she was like, this is what you want to do to me? You want to hurt me? And she ran off and I was like, very different.
Was that...
very different.
I don't think... Okay, well, in the movie, because I just recently watched the movies again, because why not? It was a flogger. It was not his hand.
I thought it was his hand.
It may be in the book, but in the movie, it was he got a flogger. He was using that flogger for the 6 strikes.
Honestly, I can't remember. I just remember her reacting so badly that she ran off and broke up with him.
That is true. Although, to be fair, if somebody is coming at you that hard with a flogger on your bare ass...
True.
I may not have reacted quite as intently or intensely.
Why didn't she just use her word to stop?
She could have.
After the first one. She let him do it all. Sorry, now we're talking about 50 Shades of Grey. She let him do it all, and he was like, yeah, this is what I like. She likes it too. She's not saying no. And then she literally ran off and broke up with him. Yeah. And he's like, what just happened?
I mean...
She didn't use her safe word.
She didn't use her safe word.
Okay.
Third act, fucking breakup. For good reason. But still. I mean, the PI, he wasn't even going to do it. He was not going to send the message to the PI, but because she... had accepted his proposal, he was like, maybe I should just start it off with a good first note. And I don't love that. I wish she had just had the fucking balls and told him.
I don't like that that's how he found out. Because then when he's in the office and she's in the doorway, she's like, this is about my mother.
Yeah.
Like, she knew.
Yeah. And I'm like, so not only is he heartbroken over hearing this and the fact that he just found out his second love has died, now you're going to immediately confirm. Yeah, you're going to immediately confirm that you knew this, never said anything.
Yeah.
And he's feeling extra betrayed, understandably.
Because he's like, what do you want? Do you want more money than what I gave you? Like, you know, there's so many things he could be assuming. And, like, I don't blame him at all for breaking up with her.
No, me either. I actually was like, this is completely fair. Genuinely. Like, I hate third act breakups. I wish they didn't exist, but every once in a while, warranted.
But I don't like his reasoning of she needs to grow up and take care of herself and all this stuff.
I was like, you literally proposed to her knowing all of this?
Yeah.
Nothing's changed other than the fact that you now know this.
Yeah. And he was like, I know that I'm a nurturing person and maybe I was a crutch to you and all this stuff. Like, you are. Yeah. That's your dynamic. Mm-hmm. And so I just didn't like the reasoning. I think the reasoning should have been, you fucking lied to me. I don't have trust in you right now. Yeah. And we need to work on that if we're going to be together. Not, you need to prove to me that you can live without me.
True.
I thought that was just not good reasoning.
I don't disagree. I do like that she did grow up just a little bit.
Yes.
Although they were together, they were afterwards not together longer than they had been together.
Right.
I was like, so it's been 2 months? Is that what I got from this?
They got engaged after 2 weeks, but then they were broken up for 2 months.
This doesn't feel like a very healthy start to a relationship, but I love that she had pursued her dream and gone on and gotten a job at a piano bar and like did the whole thing. I love that. I love that everybody came to support her too.
Yes, including Eden. After the breakup. Yes. I thought Eden was going to have some choice words for her.
I did too, but quite frankly, I think Eden knew to an extent. I mean, this is a complete guess because there's nothing from Eden's point of view, but I think she probably just saw that she may have been scared. She's young. Obviously, she's obviously younger than Ronan.
She's in her 30s. Ronan said.
Yeah, she's in her 30s. So I was like, she's closer, quite frankly, she's closer to, depending where in the 30s, closer to Daisy's age. So she probably just kind of gets it more or less. And she's like, she does have growing up to do. She's obviously got some skeletons in her closet that she needs to work through. But literally also just eat is all I freaking have to say. But yeah, she did have to like really get over and mourn her mother's death because she never did. Now, the plot twist ending. I think this is what gave it. This is what gave the 0.5 for me.
So all the other things I've complained about, but then this, like the marriage proposal and then this, I think were a horrible way to end this book.
I don't disagree. This is why I gave it a 4.5 instead of a 5 for me. Yeah. Because I hated the pregnancy.
I did too.
I'm like, I'm sorry. He is 56 years old. Yeah. My parents had me in their 40. My parents were 40 when they had me. They are now, I'm not even 30. My dad is basically on his deathbed. Granted, not necessarily by age. But like, he's 56. Yeah. By the time these kids are graduating high school, he'll be in his 70s.
He's going to be have dementia, you know?
I'm like, that's not fair to these kids. They're going to grow up majority of their life without a dad.
Yeah. And it made me so angry that it almost felt like he was trying to replace the family that he lost, even though he said that he wasn't. But a man at 56 having... Yeah. Not one. They had two kids.
They had two kids,
and he was 60 when the second one was born. I just think that that's selfish, and I did not like it whatsoever.
And I know there are a lot of people who do have kids this late in age. Yeah. And this late in life, but it just, to me, doesn't make sense. It doesn't, it makes sense to me to have them in your 20s and 30s. Mm-hmm. So you have a good amount of years with them. You're still with them for their adulthood. You feel that kid is in a really good place when you're finally ready to leave this earth.
Yeah. Like my mom was 28 when she had me. I think that was a perfect age. She and I are close. She's still young. Like we're running around together. But you said like your parents were older when they had you and you have dealt with having older parents as an adult.
And I'm like, 40. That's 40. That's 16, 17, 18 years younger
Yeah.
than Ronan is having these kids.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky to have my parents with me, but I'm 28 and about to lose my dad.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make sense to me.
I think that this book could have ended so many different ways.
Yes.
Of them just enjoying their life together, you know, running around the world, doing all that stuff. But it ended with them having kids. And I just don't think that's not how I would have enjoyed the ending. Yes, it was a happily ever after. The ending honestly kind of like left a sour taste in my mouth.
I don't disagree. If anything, he could have adopted. I mean, they could have adopted like a preteen.
Yeah.
Somebody that made sense age-wise, where she wasn't so much older, but also, quite frankly, she is still like 23 years old. So,
yeah.
I mean, it just, I wish they had not had kids and just had a happy life together.
Yeah.
And that was that.
Like, he's a billionaire, moved to Paris.
They did.
But without the kids, you know, move to Paris, travel the world. Like, spend your money.
Yeah.
You're not going to take it with you. Like,
True
go
that.
spend it. Enjoy your life. But yeah. So I still love Sarah Cate. I love this series so much.
And I still love the book.
I
as
loved
a whole.
the book. I just did not like how it ended.
I completely agree. And it did leave a sour-ish taste, but quite frankly, I've read much worse books. So I'm still sticking with my 4.5.
Okay. That's all I have for the book. Do you have anything else?
No, that's all I got.
Okay. Recommendations.
Oh, God. I didn't write any down.
I did. So, guys, I got this ARC read. And if you don't know what an ARC stands for, it's Advanced Reader Copy. I got this ARC, and I have not even finished it, and I'm going to be recommending it. If you want a daddy kink dominating man with a mild stalker voyeuristic tendency, this book is called I'll Be Watching You by Eva Marx. It does not actually come out until August 1st. But, I mean, this is going to come out on Wednesday, and August is right around the corner. Mm-hmm. So, it's a novella. It's 200 pages. It's super steamy. And it has what we were saying Ronan was missing with the daddy dom aspect. This man is dominant. Mm-hmm. He is dominant, and he tells her exactly what to do. There's daddy kink there. And yes, he spanks not only her booty, but other things. Oh. So yeah, if you want something like that, it's called I'll Be Watching You by Eva Marx. But that's the only one I wrote down because I don't really have many other daddy kink books.
So not necessarily a daddy kink, but literally my favorite age gap romance. You actually told me about it.
Me?
Latte Darling.
Latte Darling.
Daddy Axel can get it any day, any day of the week. It's a older. She's definitely not 21.
In her 30s.
She's in her 30s, but he's in his 50s. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there's really a true daddy kink. I think a little bit, but there's not.
I don't think she calls him daddy. It's very much the age gap because he's a silver fox. And that's Latte Darling by S.J. Tilley.
And it is 5 out of 5.
Genuinely. And it's the second one in a series. I really think we've already recommended this book before.
We have, but you know what? I'm going to keep doing it.
It's the second one in the series, but it is a standalone. You don't have to read the first one. And honestly, I think that the second one is better than the first one anyway.
I can't think of any other recommendations. I mean, as far as if you haven't, highly recommend reading Praise by Sarah Cate.
Oh, yeah.
Because that one is very similar to this one. Also...
But the age gap is much less.
Much less.
It's still there, but it's ex-boyfriend's dad.
Yes. Still very good.
Honestly, that one's still my favorite in the whole series.
Same.
I mean, we'll see what happens when Eden's book comes out, but yeah.
Do you think it's going to be Eden and Ball? Is that his name?
Clay. I think it's going to be Clay. They were hinting at it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So honestly, Highest Bidder was good.
Highest Bidder was good. I liked it a lot. I liked it a little less than I thought I was going to like it when I went into it.
Yeah.
Only because of the few things that we've obviously mentioned throughout the entire book. But still loved it.
Yeah.
So.
Agreed. Again, I just have to keep in mind, this is a fantasy. It's a work of fiction. Mm-hmm. It's not real.
Like, you can't really come into these books and this whole genre with realistic expectations.
Yeah. And I think I'm very much like, I love books, but I'm a realist too. And it just kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Because you read so many fantasy books.
I read so many fantasy books. I'm an ACOTAR lover. I love world building and all that stuff. But I think when I read books like this that are very much not fantasy driven, it's like, this is not realistic.
Yeah, I believe that.
But meanwhile, ACOTAR, it's like, yeah, Bat Boy, fly me around.
Yeah, Bat Boy. I'm currently reading about a shifter who's a phoenix, so I get it.
Oh, yeah.
A nice phoenix.
So, Ashlyn, what are we reading next time?
Oh my gosh, I didn't look it up.
You didn't look it up? What do you mean? Well, let me look. Oh. We have on here Twisted Games.
You want to do it?
Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Which book is that?
I think it's it's The Bodyguard. I'm pretty sure it's The Bodyguard.
That's the second one then. Let me pull it up. We're gonna just hoppy over here, and I will pull up the Twisted Games. So this is Twisted Games by Anna Huang, and it is a series. It is book number 2. But these books are standalone-ish, but they have interconnected characters and plots. But I think you can definitely read it without having read the first one. So I'm going to read the synopsis off of Goodreads. Okay? It says, she can never be his, but he's taking her anyway. Stoic, broody, and arrogant. Oh, that was weird writing. Sorry. Stoic, broody, and arrogant elite bodyguard Reese Larson. Again, sorry, ACOTAR fan over here. Reese Larson has 2 rules. 1, protect his clients at all costs. 2, do not become emotionally involved. Ever. He has never once been tempted to break those rules. Until her. Bridget von Ashburg. A princess with a stubborn streak that matches his own and a hidden fire that reduces his rules to ash. She's nothing he expected and everything he never knew he needed. Day by day, inch by inch, she breaks down his defenses until he's faced with a truth he can no longer deny. He swore an oath to protect her, but all he wants is to ruin her. Take her. Because she's his. His princess, his forbidden fruit, his every depraved fantasy. Wow, it's still going.
I loved that dramatic reading. I think that's a pretty good synopsis.
I think that's pretty good because then it literally goes into like the same thing, but just from Bridget's point of view.
We don't need that.
So yeah, just some backstory though. Bridget is in America at college, and that's why she had a bodyguard with her. But she is a princess of a European country. Okay. And what happened at the end of Twisted Love, is that the first book?
I think so.
The end of the first book, the main character is watching the news and she sees that Bridget's older brother denounced his title to the throne and he went away. And so she saw Bridget on the news running with Reese, the bodyguard, away from the paparazzi because now she's next in line to become queen. And that's not what Bridget wanted.
Honestly, I think I may have to reread the first one before I read the second
Okay, but that first one, if y'all want to read the first one, it was very good. It was very good, especially the audiobook because the man's voice was so deep. We listened to the audiobook.
I'm so bad about audiobooks and like retaining anything.
Oh.
I'm good when I read it because I physically, well, I can't say that. I have a shit memory anyway. But at least I remember a little bit of it because I'm physically using brain power to read the words and then translate them in my head. Whereas an audiobook, sometimes I just zone out.
Yeah. Well, the audiobook was delicious because that narrator, he was so yeah, that's how the first book ended. It was like a little epilogue where she was watching the news and she saw what was happening to Bridget. So I think that's where we're gonna pick up, is that Bridget is now next in line to the throne. Cool. And granted, she's the only princess in this whole series. Okay, so don't think that this is like a royalty series. Like all the girls I think that the books are about, they were friends in college and she was in America studying abroad for university. Okay, she just happens to be a princess. Okay.
So that's next week. Or next month.
Right. Next week. Next month. End of August. So Ashlyn.
Yes.
Why don't you tell me something good that happened to you?
We just got back from vacation. Yes. I don't know how else to tell you this, but I haven't had a vacation in a long time.
Yeah. Because we were supposed to go to Galveston together. But Ashlyn's poor dad had a lot going on, and she actually had to miss our Galveston vacation because she needed to be with her dad.
Indeed, I did.
So I know we probably talked about that.
Probably.
Going to the beach. Ashlyn did not make it.
Ashlyn did not make it to the beach. Ashlyn was very sad that she did not make it to the beach, but glad that I was with my dad anyway.
And Dad did great.
Dad is fine, all things considered. But yeah, I was very happy to have a small vacation to just get away from where we live and
honestly,
relax.
We went to Choctaw, which Oklahoma is an hour and a half from my house. So we live that far north. I live that far north in Texas. The Oklahoma is an hour and a half from my house. And we just drove up to the Choctaw Resort and we spent 3 days at the pool. Ate a lot of food. Ashlyn burnt her kneecaps.
I burnt my kneecaps.
But she tanned her face and tanned her boobies.
Thank you. I worked really hard.
So yeah, it was a nice little girls trip. And Matt, my husband, kept her dog and all of our animals. And so he's been, stuck here.
So now he knows what it's like to watch all the animals by himself.
Yeah, so he did that so that we could have a girls trip. So thanks, Matt.
Shout out to Matthew. What is something good to happen to you?
It hasn't happened yet.
Oh.
But after this, we're going to get Wendy's Frosties and fries.
Oh my God.
I'm so excited for this. Do not think I have forgotten.
So just to get this straight, this is the only thing that's good that's happened, or the most important thing good that's happened.
Yes.
Okay. For the month of July.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that I'm going to take your Wendy's Frosty cherry. Yep.
I see. Okay, well, that's really exciting for us.
Okay, guys. Well, thanks for sticking it out with us, and hope you enjoyed this episode. If you don't follow us already, check out all of our social media is Bookaholics Podcast. Also, Ashlyn's website is thebookspicy.com. Has great features where you can search tropes and triggers. And the highest bidder will be added shortly to that ever-growing list.
Indeed it shall. And also, if you have any suggestions or anything else, make sure to email us at bookaholics@gmail.com.
Bookaholics Podcast.
Excuse me. Bookaholics Podcast at gmail.com. Podcast is in our name. It's in the name of everything. It's not just what we do. It's also our name.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will see you guys in August.
Bye.
Bye.